Ram Nitram 1.
Marty, how's my audio coming across? Excellent. There we go. Oh, this is great. This little stream deck is really handy here. Now I got my viewer count on the buttons right here, so I can see how many YouTube and how many Twitch people right there and there. Let's see if all my switches are good here. Let's see, webcam view, SolidWorks, fantastic. Microscope, sweet. Away from keyboard. Yeah, perfect. Let's see. Mute. Yep. Spin the wheel. Awesome. Very cool. Let's see. Who else in here? Who else in here besides Marty? Maybe we should add Marty. Gotta add you to the wheel here. Let's see. Streamlabs. Put a couple more people on our little spinny wheel here. Spinny wheel. I don't know, this is something I'm playing with. Fender. Hey, what's up, Fender? Old Mark is here. Yeah. I've got a fail video today. Not what I wanted to have. It was half of a good day because DHL finally delivered a very important box that I've been waiting for. But on the downside, the CNC was not cooperating with me. Okay, do I want to update? No. No, I just want to play with the spinning wheel. Let's see. Dashboard. Spinny wheel. Sound effects. Counter. Giveaways. No. I don't think this is where I want to be. I think I'm in the wrong app. Maybe it's through this. Holy logins. Got a million accounts here to log into. There we go. Spinning wheel. Okay. Digital silence. Smarky Fender. Let's add a section that's called Cram Knit Ram. Oh, I spelled that terribly. I'm sorry, Marty. Spinning wheel. Good thing we got some time to play. How do we update this? There an update button? There it is. There's Marty's pie, except Marty's pie is white. That's not gonna work. Marty, what color do you want to be? Red? There we go. Let's see if it works. Hit this button over here. Awesome. Where's the clicking sound though? It's supposed to be a clicking sound. And it's Smarky. Smarky wins. Bob. Hi, Bob. I see you've figured out the chat and it is functioning. Let's add Bob to our spinning wheel as well. There we go. Choose a nice color. I know exactly what color you're supposed to be. Right there. And we'll update that. There we go. I don't even know if you can read that. It's probably too hard to read. A lifetime supply of nothing, says Fender. Well, I'm trying to get this working properly so that when we give away the King of Hearts quad at the end of the build, I'll be able to spin the wheel for a winner. That'll be our way of generating the random number or whatever you want to call it there. Although it appears that Smarky wins an awful lot in my testing, so let's test it again and see who the winner is. I'm telling you, Smarky hits on this wheel all the time, and everybody has an equal weight. Look at that. It's Smarky again. Smarky's going to have a really good shot at winning this King of Hearts quad with this wheel here for some reason. And I don't know why. Maybe as long as Smarky's not here yet, maybe we can turn the weighting on his wheel down a little bit. Because I can play with the section weight, right? So let's see. We'll turn Smarky down and save that. And there. Now Smarky's got a narrower wedge. Let's see if he still wins this thing, even with half the chances everybody else on the wheel. If it comes up Smarky again, I'm just throwing this whole thing out. There, it's Fender now. Fender won that spin, but man, it wasn't that far away from Smarky. Let's see. Marty says bad seed value for random number generator. I don't see a control to run different seeds. So that's not a thing. Well, we should probably put Smarky back to normal. So everyone's got the same weight. And let's test this one more time. So everybody with the same weight on the pie. And we'll spin again. Click, 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 click. Oh, Marty, congratulations. You get to solder 72 4-position XLR connectors on the end of 18 gauge wire for me. That's what you won. I like this game. This game is fun. Real people and real consequences. All right. I think I can close out of that. That's enough horsing around with my wheel. Back to normal. Yep. Okay, cool. Oh, my little package that I've been waiting for from Foxeer. Foxeer is sponsoring the Bando, and they have given me a large box of these things here. This is a Predator Mini, and these guys here are Monster Mini Pros 16:9 versions. So that is awesome. They've given me a whole box of these to give away, and I've figured out how I'm gonna distribute them. Basically, the tier 1 pilots that have tickets have the best chance of getting some of this swag that we got from our sponsors. I also have a gigantic box of doll props as well. What do we got? We've got 6-inch, 5.5-inch, 5-inch, and 3-inch. Does doll not have a good 4-inch prop? I don't know. I went through and I asked them for specific sizes. So it's their latest offering in 3-inch, 5-inch, 5.5, and 6-inch. Mostly geared towards racing. But they're good looking sets of props. I like the designs on some of the new blades that we're seeing. Let's pop over to how it works. Okay. This is where we left off on our last stream. we're working on making a mold in order to pour the little urethane booties. And I was over at the shop earlier and machining this out. I'll queue up that video for you guys. Let's see. Fender says they made a 45 that looks like the old 5045 from 5045 HBN prop that everyone used to use. And I don't think they have a 4-inch Cyclone. Yeah, I think if I would have saw 4-inch Cyclone, I probably would have asked for them to send those as well. I got the threes are nice looking. I know Jerry Seawood was saying that he likes the HQ 4-inch prop. Did I see that go by in the group today? I'll have to check that out because I need a better prop for my 4-inch racer. The ones I have are a little bit too soft. I mean, they'll last forever before they break, but they're a little too soft. Okay, we were screwing around in Mastercam on the last stream here, and I've redone the tooling, the tool paths to use some of the more modern what do you call it? More modern toolpath. I switched over to high-speed surfacing instead of pocketing, just to go faster through this material, so that I could run this little thing in a 10-15 minutes instead of taking like a half hour to 45 minutes. But I ran into a problem with the code that it posted out, and I'll show you what happened there. Bring up the video. So here we are, over at the shop, pulling off the little vacuum table that I have. I don't know if you guys will get sound through this thing. Oh yeah, there's a little sound there. Okay. So I've got this piece of butterboard. It's a really, really lightweight urethane carving board. Probably down in the like 20-pound range. It's very light and super easy to cut, and it has a fine-grained texture to it. I figured that the finished part would look nice with like that matte finish, fine-grained matte finish. So I selected this board out of the boards that I have, and you can see it's just like a scrap corner that I had laying around from some other projects. These tooling boards are really expensive, so you don't throw out the scrap. I have a tendency to hoard every little piece that I can, that I think I can get another part out of. You can even see on the other side that I have facing down, I have a little bit of a part that's machined into there, which was actually just like a little, cut a circle in there to hold another part, so I could work on it. It was a Teflon ring, and it was super slippery, and it was so hard to hold on to, so I just machined a little circle into the board there, and I could slip that little Teflon ring on there and work on it. So anyways, the machine, this is my 4-foot by 4-foot shop saber here, and I've just finished homing the machine, like the same routine that your 3D printer does. It comes and bumps into the limit switches on all 3 axes. so that it knows where home is. Every time you turn the machine off, it forgets where it is. You know, your lower end machines don't know where they are in space because they don't have any sort of encoders on them. So whenever you power a machine down and then turn it back on again, the machine has to figure out where it is, and that's why it comes over and it bumps into the limit switches. Here I am. I changed out the collet that was in there for a 1/2-inch collet, and I'm loading up a 1/2-inch foam cutter. It's like a 3-flute, real low helix cutter. And you're able to fly super fast through these tooling boards with this cutter. So I threw the 1/2-inch cutter in there first to hog out the majority of the material. Right here, you see I'm touching off. This little white puck here is it's another switch, and so the head lowers down, and as soon as the machine sees that switch break, it knows where the tip of that cutter is. And then I bring the cutter over to my board, and I'm just gonna kind of eyeball up where I want 0 to be. So I'm just lining it up with the corner of my board there, and telling the machine that's X0, Y0. And then after I do that, then I'm gonna bring the cutter down, and I'm gonna set my height. So basically I'm just measuring the top of the board and telling the computer where the top of the board is. And once that's done, I can lift the head back up and open up my program. So we can pop back into Mastercam, but basically I've split the program into four separate programs. Because this machine doesn't have a tool changer, each program is a different cutter. So this program is just the 1/2-inch cutter. It'll run, and when it's done, then I know I have to go switch a tool out for the next one. The next one is a 1/4-inch cutter, and then that program runs, and then a 1/16-inch cutter, and that program runs, and then a chamfer, that program runs. So, okay, so I've loaded the program up, and I'm just gonna turn the spindle on and let it rip. And this program ran fairly well, and in fact, I could turn the speed way higher than where I have it. Oh, right there, I'm checking just to make sure that I'm not gonna run into my screws, because I just screwed that piece of material down to the spoil board. So I just ran it around just to make sure that I wasn't gonna hit my screws. Wouldn't be the first time. So there you see, I helix down into that foam, and then the cutters, I think I'm running at like 150 inches a minute or so. I'm taking a full depth of cut, so I'm going all the way to the bottom with it. It's like I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, I think, and I'm only stepping over like 20% of the tool, and then running the feed fast. And I wasn't sure which tooling board I was going to grab. So this speed is more appropriate for the denser board that I have. But I figure I would just make life easy on myself, and I grabbed the lighter board, and this lighter board I could go way faster. At least twice as fast as this, and you could bury that cutter 100% into that material, and nothing would care. It would remove that material. You can see that I'm making dust here, and that's no good. So I'm definitely moving way too slow. There should be big chunks of material coming out of that board. Like whenever you're cutting these materials, With metal, it's a little bit easier. You know, when you're making a chip, it's obvious that there's a chip coming out of the material, and you can even measure the thickness of the chip, see about where you're at. With these like foam boards and stuff like that, it's a little harder. You have to make sure that like you're doing the math in the software, and I definitely am not taking a heavy enough cut. So I could probably turn the feed up to like 200 inches a minute and probably reduce my RPMs down as low as it'll go. Like this, the router head that I have on there will go down to 10,000 RPM, and I'm running it at 13 right now. So I should drop that down to 10. Run the feed up higher and bury that tool even deeper every time it goes around, and I would have finished this path up way faster than I did. But this is still way quicker than 3D printing. Like, so for the raggy canopies that we've been making, the 3D printing the pods out of ABS, and you know that takes like, I don't know, 4 hours to make one of those pods on the 3D printer, and then after it comes off the 3D printer, we got to spend, you know, an hour or two sanding, filling, and priming the things in order to get them looking professional, like they came out of an injection mold. So here, this is a way of doing the same thing. We're cutting our tool in order to make our silicone mold, but rather than 3D printing it and then having to clean it all up, we're just going to cut it out of this board, and we're going to spend like 15 minutes cutting this material, and then we can go right into the silicone and start pouring the silicone. Hey, what's up, Lone Star? Yeah, Lone Star says crank it up, we want chips. Yeah. I did the program for the denser board, and when I went through my scrap pile and found this, I said, oh, this will do. This is perfect. And so I just threw it in there and did not adjust the program. And I didn't even bother to override the feed rates either. I just let it run. One reason is because I was staring out the window waiting for the DHL truck to show up today. Because if I can rant about DHL for a little bit, their service in our area really sucks. Oh, I have our Foxier sponsorship package for the Bando. Overnight shipping from Hong Kong, right? So it leaves Hong Kong last week Wednesday, and it gets in to Rochester on Thursday. They put it on the truck and tried to deliver it on Thursday, and they couldn't find me, so it went back to Rochester. Then they tried again on Friday, couldn't find anybody, so then they drove it back to Rochester again. Monday, same thing. They came out from Rochester, couldn't figure out what door, took it back to Rochester. They've been back and forth. That thing made it all the way from Hong Kong to Rochester in one day, and it took them over a week to get me this stupid box from Rochester over to Hamburg. It was a little sad, but I can't, they don't have regular service over here, so I can't count on, you know, what time they're going to be here. I don't know when to, you know, look out for them. It's a different driver every time. It's brutal. DHL has the best service coming out of China, and it's way cheaper than UPS's service coming out of China. But man, they just really fail at getting it that last mile. So there we go. That little roughing operation's done, and so now I've got to change the tool out, like I said, no tool changer on this machine, so I gotta go do all this stuff by hand. A lot of times that leads to some lazy programming where I try to get everything done with one cutter when I should be changing. Usually I would have wrote this whole program just with a 1/4" cutter, and that way I would have never had to touch it. But I figured just for the sake of kind of demonstrating the different operations here, I put the 1/2" in there, do all the roughing with that 1/2". It's many times faster than trying to rough that size pocket out with a 1/4" cutter, and I should have been running at least twice as fast as that. Like that super light foam will make a pretty nice chip if you're running quick enough. And I checked the program. I want to say I had the program set to make like a 3,000th chip, and that's way too low. It should have been like 6 to 9 thousandths probably, and my step over should have been huge. So note to self, this thing's about to fail, and I'm not exactly sure why I have to chase the problem down, but that give me the opportunity to fix my programming, crank the speed up, and run another one. And I'll probably run it out of the denser foam because I chewed up, basically I've chewed up most of that scrap there. So I didn't want to use the denser foams because the denser they are, the more expensive they are. Maybe I can still get it out of the other side if I flip it over, and I'll just machine away that little circle I've got on the other side. Anyway, so here's the 1/4" cutter going in there now. So that first operation was like all roughing. So that cutter, it got close to the final part, but it didn't actually do the finish pass. There's still like 20-30 thousandths worth of material on these parts here. So my 1/4" here is going to come in and clean all that up and bring the part to its like final dimension there. And the 1/2" cutter can't get into all the nooks and crannies and stuff, whereas this little 1/4" can get in there. And then after the 1/4" is done, then I have to load up my 16" cutter in order to do all the real tiny features that we have in these booties. So there's like our little 2mm holes and our little like bumper slots and stuff like that, our little shock absorber slots, and those all have to be done with the 16" cutter. So the programming is not great. There's a little bit of wasted time. You can see it's picking the head up a lot, and that's just wasted time. The tool's not down in the material cutting. You're basically just throwing money away. You see right there, there's really, why did it lift up? Why did it lift up right there? So the tool path needs a lot of work. Why am I doing a helix from 2 inches above the top of the material? I don't know. That's what it wants to do. Those are the kinds of things that we need to go back in and clean up. Sometimes if I can't find the answer quickly, I just leave it there. There was the little screw up right there. So something in the post was incorrect, and it cut a circle instead of a short arc, and it has now destroyed my part. And so all that work is thrown out, and that material is now scrapped. So it cut the first little booty just fine, and when it went to go cut this one, it's going to screw up again. It's going to cut a huge circle, and it's going to bury the tool through the material. If this was metal, I would have broken stuff. But luckily this light foam, the tool, that 1/4" cutter can blast right through it, and it doesn't break anything. Had this been a piece of aluminum, stuff would have been flying. There it is. Just doing a finishing pass. Okay, so it's going to do a finish pass here, and right there. It drew a huge circle right through the middle of the part when it should have just been a tiny little arc segment. So the problem is somewhere in my code it was supposed to output an arc, and instead the CNC thinks that it should have been a large circle. And I know it's been giving me a problem when I use the more exotic tool paths, and I think it's just a matter of the high-speed tool paths have a lot of arcs in them, and so that increases my chances of having a problem. You can see in here, let's see if I can isolate that. There we go. That's all it was supposed to be doing right there. It was just going around nice and easy. And somewhere in here, maybe this arc right here, it just decided to continue on and go all the way around and then continue on. I like Lone Star saying the I and the J issue. I have been looking through the post because it's not the first part that I've ruined because of this issue, and I cannot hunt it down. I've tried, telling it to only post, half circles, quarter circles, post full circles. I can't seem to track it down. I need somebody that's a little bit better at C than I am, because I can't figure out why there's the disconnect. And you know what? The problem might not even be the post coming out of Mastercam. The problem might just be the controller software on the CNC. So I don't know if I should just, bite the bullet and go back and pay for the, latest version of the controller software. I really kind of hate the software that's on this machine, and I would love to just switch it out for Mach. I like Mach better than this one. This is a more expensive controller than Mach, but it doesn't have the support that Mach does. Even though Mach's like a pretty cheap hobby type controller software, I think it's much better than what's on the Chop Saber from the factory. So anyway, let's step through the programming here, because I changed it since the last stream that we were doing. Here's the first operation. That's where I've got my 1/2-inch cutter, and you can see that I helix in all the way full depth, right? It's basically the top of my part in there, and I hog that cavity out. So let's go back in there. We're gonna crank this thing up and cut the second one a lot faster. So I'm gonna check my speed here. Okay, so I was feeding at 150, and my spindle was about 13,000. I had it set to. Okay, so I was taking a cut of 38 thou. Right, and I'm going to double check that this is set to 3 flute. Yes, it's set to 3 flute. So it's doing its calculation right. So next time around, I'm going to turn the spindle all the way down to 10,000. And then maybe bring the feed rate up to 170, 180, 180. Okay, so that'll give me 6 thou per tooth. That should cut down on the dust coming out of the machine. I can only go 200 on that machine. That's about the max, and I don't want to totally max it out, just in case I have problems with the stepper motors losing track to where they are. And then my XY step over. Ooh, actually, before I commit to these changes, let's mark down how much time. Okay, so this let's see it bring up. This had a cycle time of 3 minutes and 45 seconds. My machine was probably a little bit slower than that because my acceleration deceleration is not great, but I think for the sake of what we're going to demonstrate here, that's fine. So let's say 4 minutes was this tool path. And we're going to edit these parameters, and we're going to see if how much time we save by making these changes here. So 10,000 RPM. We're going to crank our feed up to 170. And we could even plunge faster than that. And our cut, let's do like 80% step over. This foam is going to get out of the way, no problem. Okay. So there, let's accept those changes and rebuild that tool path. And let's see where we're at. So we were at about 4 minutes. It's gonna do some thinking here. Okay, there, she's rebuilt. Let's see. Not so many lines anymore, are there? Yeah, that is gonna go much, much quicker. How much quicker? 59 seconds. Okay, so we just we took it from 4 minutes down to 1 minute. So we're running 4 times faster now, saving a ton of time and money. Let's just kind of check out the little simulation here and see what's going on. Position that on the screen, good for the stream, you guys. There she goes. It's gonna crank in there. Helix down in, blast its way around there. That tool is gonna be pretty much fully buried in there, and then it's gonna do that last 1/4 of an inch, cleaning up around the parts, trying to get as tight as it can into those little pockets there. There we go. And it picks up a couple times, but nothing too crazy. So there you go. Time is money. So we just saved ourselves a whole bunch of money by switching to Geico there. Okay, so our next operation, this is switching over to the 1/4 inch cutter and doing the rest roughing. The rest is what it sounds like. We're just doing the rest of the material that is left over from the bigger cutter. And this is the one that we're having our problem with. But anyways, I think we can kind of turn this up as well. We're at 80. Take a little bit bigger cut there. Or maybe just back off on the RPM. But anyways, that's good. Our step over, we can be much more aggressive here. I'm going to say like 35% step over. And we're going to rebuild that tool path. Save some more time. There she is. Fewer lines, more money in our pocket. I still don't know why. I spent a good amount of time trying to get rid of these helixes. There's a ton of air machining going on here, and I wasn't able to track down why it's putting those in there. But since we're only making one part here, we're gonna live with it. How fast is this? 1.5 minutes. Let's kind of watch the back plot here. She goes. Hollows out the center of the part, and then it does a finish pass around the outside, bringing it to its final dimensions. There we are. Okay, our next one. So this is our actual finish pass here. It's not really a spring pass. I think I'm taking some material with this pass. I think like the final 20 thousandths, I think we're taking off with this last finish pass here. And this you actually want to slow down so that you get a good surface finish on your part. So I've slowed down to a feed rate of 70. My RPM is still maxed out on my spindle. And we're taking it like 15 tenths on this pass. Could probably be more aggressive than that. 20. Yeah, that way our tooth has always got a good chunk of material. Not that that's going to save a whole lot of time. Anyways, okay, next operation is chamfer. So we just put a little, I just put in a spot drill in the machine, and we're walking around the outside of the part here to bevel the edges. Let's see if I can bring that up. Here's our spot drill, 1/4-inch spot drill, and all that's going to do is going to come down and it's going to follow the edge of the part and just knock the corner off. Nice little like 20 thousandths bevel on the part. So there it is. Walking around our part. Then she's going to come over up a little bit. And it's going to lift up way too high. And there it's going to do the bevel on our little shock absorbing holes there. All right. And then rather than programming every single part inside of our little mold here, I just do basically, it's like copy paste. It's called transform. And so the first one is mirror, and I'm mirroring across that center line. And then the second one is just a move, and I'm moving down. And I only wrote I only had to fill out the parameters once. I only had to select the lines once, and the rest of it, it's just copy paste. And our final operation, we're going to switch over to our little 16th inch end mill, and we got to get these little tiny pockets on the inside here. None of the other tools will fit in there, so here we go. We switch into our 16th inch. Bring that up. Super tiny. It's a 1 flute cutter, and there it is. It goes down in there. Going to do a little spiral move in each one of those holes and pocket out that center. Then our part's done. Oh, finish pass. There she is, coming around for that last 10th thou. Little finish pass. We could save some time by keeping the tool down and doing the finish pass at the same time that we rough each hole. But anyways, that's our part. So hopefully trial number 2 goes better. Like I said, program it once, transform. All right, so let's see. I think we had our problem. Yeah, we had our problem in this operation here when it posted out. And I'm going to take a look at that real quick. I'm just going to, let's see, take our 2 1/4-inch paths here. I'm going to post them out and take a look at the code. Yep, I just want to post those 2 operations. Generate some code. There you go, Lone Star. Want to tell me what's going on? I got my I's and my J's crossed here. Anyways, I don't even know where the heck those were, but I know that if it doesn't post a number after the I or the J, it will cut a circle. And so I went and edited the post file and forced it to write a number after every I and J, because it was doing this a lot more frequently. And what I discovered is if there was no change between two lines, if like J stayed the same from this line to the next line, it would just leave it blank. And my controller did not like that. If it saw a blank value there, it would cut a circle. So I'm forcing it to put values there, but still I've cut down the number of circles I've drawn by a lot. But every once in a while it does it, and it does it mostly when I'm doing those high speed operations, because they're just so heavy into the arcs and stuff like that. And so, I could look for a J with no number after it, but I'm pretty sure I got my post functioning properly, so that it's not giving me blanks anymore. Maybe know if the find function J with a space after it. Yeah, didn't find any. I with a space after it, didn't find any. Oh, negative I. Oh, if it's something silly like that. No negative I. Oh, J negative. No, J negative with a space after it. J negative space. None found. Yep. So apparently I have some other issue that I'm gonna have to find. But anyways, that's where we're at with that guy. Let's see. Pull that down. Okay. Maybe sometimes it just is easier to
take a 4-place digit.
3D print this thing. Lone Star says, will the controller take a 4th
William Hoth could
place
be a
digit?
Issue.
Could be a rounding issue. Interesting idea. That's an interesting point. We have to write that down. Yeah, that's I didn't even think of that. I'm speechless because my mind just exploded. A rounding error. That could explain why sometimes if let's pop back over to master cam. Yeah. Sometimes if I come into these high-speed toolpaths and play around with the filter tolerances, right? If I play around with those, sometimes that helps eliminate those mistakes in the post. And that leads me to believe that you might be right, that it is like some sort of rounding error that's happening. When it can't figure out where the circle's supposed to end, it just draws a complete one, right? When it can't find the start or the finish of the arc. Well, now I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Alright. I'm so glad that you're in here, Lone Star, tonight. That just made my night. What are we doing? Smarky in here? Oh, anyways. Here's our next canopy that he and I are working on. He can tell us more about this thing, but I don't know if Smarky's on here tonight. If he is, he hasn't spoke up yet.
William Hoth had a machine years ago that took 5 place.
Lone Star said, had a machine years ago that took 5 places. Wow. I can't even measure 5 places. I can't even measure 4 places out. That is really something else. Like I said, I'm not crazy about the controller in that machine. I mean, it's like a $1,200 controller, where Mach is, I don't know, $300 or $400. We were running
Hoth doing the same thing.
4 places and fought it for years, doing the same thing. He says, yep, there's always something to be said about the guy that has experience, right? You can learn all you can online, read all the books and everything, but something stupid like that, it's just a matter of, yep, well, I've been there before. I can't wait to give that a try. I know exactly what to start adjusting. That's great. Anyways, this is our next pod that we've got to deal with, and you can see that the our little shark fins here are angled out.
William
So they're gonna
50K machine
they're gonna grab onto the silicone mold on that one. So that should be an interesting one. Hopefully we get to film the next one instead of just taking pictures. Usually I don't like touching my camera when we're working with all the mold materials, just because that, like, the silicone gets on everything and it just doesn't come off. It sticks. It not even sticks. It's just a slippery, nasty goo that does not wash off, and I don't want it on any of my stuff, my cameras, my lenses. But anyways, it's gonna be Smarky's turn to take over from me for the mold making. So the apprentice has to give it a try solo, and so that'll give me the opportunity to shoot some video of the next one, because we just finished up our 2-up mold this week. So every time he pours that mold, he'll get 2 pods out of it. And yeah, we just finished that up yesterday. Yeah, he just picked that up from me yesterday. Lone Star says you're battling the same issues on a $300,000 machine. Well, that doesn't make me feel good. I would hope that when you order a machine like that, that you don't have to worry about anything. They should not have to come out. You shouldn't have to screw around. It should be, here's the post, you're done. Right? What else do we got going on over here? We got our stream quad. Oh, our soldering that we got to do. I think this Saturday is going to have to be safety soldering Saturdays. Safety soldering Saturdays in Boston today, this weekend. There we go. So I bought a whole bunch of these guys here. So all these, we started off with these like plastic clips on all of our lighting fixtures and little extension cords, and we had a good time out at Flight Fest soldering all these up and making a nice stack of extension cords. But these things are falling apart, man. They were super cheap, and I don't know, where are we? The pins inside of here, they get all jacked up, and then whenever somebody steps on them, this little like tabby thing breaks off. So they're super cheap, and they're not durable enough for what we're doing. So we're switching over to the stuff that the professionals use, which is all these XLR fittings. You know, the same thing that you would see same thing you would see on like your microphones and stuff like that. So these are, tried and tested, and they hold up to the serious abuse, from these what do you call it, gig work stages and tours and stuff like that. They're all metal. We just got to solder a whole bunch of these up. So I've got all the receptacles, and I got all the ends for all the extension cords. I got a box of like hundreds of these things, and they've got really good strain relief on them. They come with the strain relief and a bunch of little parts in there. And since we don't want to buy tools, I bought these all with the like silver plated I don't know if it'll focus, but they're solder cups, little silver plated solder cups, so it should Be nice and easy for us to assemble. Plus you can get these things here. Oh, it's really bright up there, closer to my light. There we go. So they sell colored rings. So I have a box of like every color that they sell, so that we can mark. We can figure out what length all these extension cords are just by looking at the ring here. This thing's got like a. They all come with a black ring, and you pop that off, and you can put the colored rings on them. So we can identify like our 10 footers, our 25 footers, 100 footers. So that's this weekend's project down at Safety Saturdays. Bring the soldering irons. Gotta switch over all our cables. I got better cable coming too. Better copper, better jacket. It's more flexible because that first spool that I bought is kind of stiff. It's not the friendliest wire that we've ever had. Where do we leave? What else do we have to tackle on our stream quad here? Or are we just about ready to just wrap this up? I just need to finish making the parts in the real world, and then we can get this thing going. Anybody else have anything going in chat there? Marty, you around to bring timers out to the track to test? That's another thing that we should get done. We've got the Delta 5 timers being populated by our friend in chat there, Ramnit Ram. He's built a couple up. Hopefully he's available to get the split time set up and start testing that. We got a lot of bando work ahead of us. I have to start building the gigantic gates for outside. Marty's in YouTube. He says tomorrow, not Saturday. Well, Marty, if you can bring me a timer or two, whatever we've got there, so that we can start testing that out, that would be awesome. Then for Safety Saturdays, we can get the guys running over them and see how they tune. You know, I mean, right now nothing beats the Immersion RC timer. That thing's been really solid, and you know, it's easy to set up. You know, just point it in the direction you want to read in. So I'm curious about the Delta 5. I know with the Immersion RC, you have independent control of all 8 nodes on there. So like when Benny Mac is flying and he's underpowered, or Fender's flying and he's like overpowered, that I can go in there and like fine tune just their channel, just the one receiver, so that I don't have to deal with as many missed reads. And I don't think the Delta 5 talks to live time like that. I think it only works like at a global power level setting. So that might be, I don't know, that might be something we have to deal with. You know, I might have to be extra careful with the antenna placement on the Delta 5s versus the Immersion, but still, for the price of one Immersion, we're getting a lot of Delta 5 timers. So I think that they'll do just fine as like, you know, split times and like Joker lanes. I was looking at the way live time handles the Joker lanes, and that's pretty cool. So we can give like, we could set up like a ridiculously hard gate to get through, and if somebody does go through it, it could award them, you know, an extra lap or something. So we could do like our concentric circles that get smaller and smaller as you go through them. That's something that we wanted to try. I've got the portal backdrop over at the track now.
As long you're not trying to time at an over/under.
Fender says outside. Outside, I don't think it will be an issue as long as you're not trying to time it over, under, or split S-type gate. Yeah, I think like it's the same thing with the immersion. It's just, you know, don't fight the like antenna, right? Just place it in a really smart spot, and then your problems are pretty much gone. You know, it's when you're trying to put it in a really stupid place, that you have to just like pull your hair out trying to get it like perfectly dialed in for the gain and threshold, when, you know, all it takes is just like designing your track where that timer is like away from everything else, and then you face the antenna away from everything else. I hope that I can get an arm made up and like a mounting system made up for the immersion, so that I can put it on the top of the gate. I want to put it on the top of the gate facing down towards the ground. Because some of the stuff that we have coming up is going to be a little bit more complicated, and I think that'll be a good way of kind of getting rid of some of the unwanted lap triggers and stuff like that. Same thing with the Delta 5. With the Delta 5, I'm gonna have to come up with a case for it. So I've got to design some sort of enclosure for it, and I'm gonna give myself some mounting points so that we can like hang it from the like top PVC tubes and stuff like that on our gates. I think that'll help out even more, like pointing the antenna down at the ground.
Matt Fender plus at RNL each person was basically always
on Matt Fender says RNL each person was basically always on the same channel.
Anyone on that channel would have had a similar issue.
So it could have been something. Yeah. Fender brings up a point that like particular channels at a particular like venue can be worse or better, and since everyone's basically picking the same channel every week, that can have something to do with it too. Yeah, like the threshold value, right? Like if you know, there's a Wi-Fi device in there and it's on a particular frequency, that my threshold for that frequency probably has to be different than everybody else's. So yeah, those are things that we don't have to deal with so much when we're out at the track. I had a video conference with the RC club at Alfred State today. So we've got that race coming up. A lot of you are gonna probably go up to Parker's Playground, but if you're not going up to Canada, or if you're not sure which one, definitely check out the race at Alfred State. That's April 28th, and there's pretty good payout at that race, and it's not expensive to enter that one. And you get to see Jerry. We haven't seen Jerry in a long time because we're all flying our little indoor little whoops, and it's been a long time since we've been outside with the 5-inch, but that should be a good one. They kind of have they got a pretty good setup, and they might even pull a bit of a crowd over there, so it should be a pretty good way of like kicking off our full size
I'm not sure
summer
about
racing.
That's all I've seen say they want to go up there.
Yeah, Fender says he's probably going up to Scully's race there. Not sure about Ben. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It'd be a good time. So there's 2 classes. There's of course the collegiate class, and then there's the open class. So you guys would be able to sign up for the open class. Let's see. Do we have any other new developments this week? I don't think so. I have my new toy over here that I was playing with. I'm using it for the live stream right now, but this thing's gonna help me out over at the track as well. So it's just it's a video switcher, right? Stream Deck from Elgato. And I was kind of looking at it, and then Frank from Safety Third, he bought one as well, and so I decided to bite the bullet and get one for myself. Basically, it's just a little keyboard, and it's got little screens behind the buttons here, and so I can put my own artwork behind them. And I have a layout for the live stream, the Thursday night live stream, and then I have a layout for over at the track. And so it's got like Fat Shark 2 and 4, Race Band 1 and 2, Race Band 7, 8. Like it's all laid out on here, and so I can glance over and I can switch the live feed to everybody's FPV feeds, and I can do all the different track cameras and stuff like that right at my fingertips, and it's super easy. And it also should mean that if someone were to like jump in and help me out on the live stream, I really don't have to do much training, because that new person that's going to help out with the live stream, all you got to do is just kind of look over at the icons, and it'll be just stupid obvious what you need to do. If you want to view who's on Fat Shark 2, you just hit the big F2 button, and that's it. If you want to like go to the start finish camera, you just hit the like start finish camera button, and it goes to start finish camera button. So it'll be cool. There's buttons to like roll a commercial, so I can like roll a No Limit commercial or a Bando commercial, and it's all right there. Super easy. Plus I have some other things planned for it that are going to be fun, but yeah, that's where it is. So like for this live stream, I have like webcam, SolidWorks, Mastercam, microscope, Google, Twitch, YouTube. Everything's like super easy. Fun little toys. Let's see. Fender says, have you heard about any other Northeast qualifier to a New England but nothing out of PA or Central New York area? Yeah, I would like to see Steve Bellamy do a qualifier with his group, and if he needs help, needs gates or equipment and stuff like that, I'd gladly join up with those guys out in the Finger Lakes region so that they can hold a qualifier as well. I don't think there's really any negative downside to holding like as many as we possibly can. Bob Brown says the gentleman in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, says he is going to do a qualifier. We have there's a pretty good list. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I'm going to pull it up off screen just in case. But there is some stuff posted. I want to say that there was at least 4 solid dates for qualifiers, and I guess there's a new development. So we're all in the Rotor Stars for our multi-GP chapter. They have allowed me to open up a second chapter, so we're gonna just basically take and we're not really even splitting the group, but it's just gonna make more sense. We now have an official Buffalo multi-rotor multi-GP chapter, and we have the Rotor Stars multi-GP chapter, and there's nothing to prevent you from being in multiple chapters, so I encourage everyone to sign up for both of them. Rotor Stars chapter, I'm basically going to use it for the greater area, all through the southern tier and stuff like that. Our Olean races, our Pumpkin Pass, Cuba races, all that stuff is all going to be Rotor Stars stuff. And then like when we're racing, with the Bando and Safety Saturdays, that's all going to be run through Buffalo Multi-Rotor, and we have to get Buffalo Multi-Rotor up to a Tier 3 chapter in a month, and then we can hold a second qualifier for ourselves. So hopefully we can do a May qualifier, something before the bando, and then we'll do the big qualifier, which is like the final qualifier, the ring race and everything, down at the Olean Airport. So here I've got the list. We've got let's see, regional qualifier on 7/1. Okay, that's out in Massachusetts. We got our race, Rotor Stars, July 7th. Central PA Quad Racers, May 6th. Lock Haven. Okay, so the Lock Haven race in Central Pennsylvania, that's May 6th. Full Tilt is doing their qualifier on June 10th. That's Schenectady, New York. And let's see, NCCR, that's Windsor, Connecticut. So Connecticut is going to be real early. That April 29th. Okay, so that'd be the first one. So we can like let's see, if Central PA is doing like May 6th, you know, maybe we do it like the following week or something like that. So like mid-May, do a Buffalo Multi-Rotor qualifier, hopefully, if we get to it. We got a lot to do. We got bando, and then we leave the bando and do Olean, and then from Olean we got like Flight Fest. After Flight Fest, it's gonna be Riot out in Muncie. So I don't know. It's gonna be a busy summer, man. Okay. Anything else that we got going, or kind of wrap up early tonight and get back into more of it next week. Hopefully we have our machining running a lot better after Lone Star teaches me a little bit about rounding errors at our safety meeting and soldering. Matt Fender, I still have to actually register for Bando and Riot. Yeah, get registered for Bando. Don't wait too long to register for Bando, because the earlier you register, the more stuff you're gonna get as a present, as a gift to the early register people. So that's all I'll say. Don't wait too long on the Bando registration. All right, I think that's that'll probably do it for me tonight. I'm gonna take a break, get my notebook out, and start jotting down some more ideas that I've got rattling around in my noggin here. And yeah, Friday I'll be back and forth between the Boston track, getting some stuff going, putting the portal wall up so that Saturday we can go to Plaid. And we can only go to Plaid once we're done soldering all these connectors. So bring whatever you need to make it through an hour of hardcore soldering, and then we can go to Plaid. That's my plan for Safety Saturday this week. All right, guys. I'll catch you this weekend. All right. Thanks for popping in and checking out Lone Star. Thanks for the tip for my post. That's probably gonna keep me up all night, in fact. So that's probably what I'm doing next. All right, Lone Star. I'll see you Saturday as well. All right, guys. Catch you later.